All right, Dodgers fans, gather around because today's update is packed with drama, setbacks, and just enough hope to keep this roller coaster season alive. There's a lot happening behind the scenes, and even when the headlines look grim, sometimes the fine print offers a silver lining. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Tony Gonsolin, a name that's been both a spark and a source of concern for this Dodgers rotation, finds himself back in the spotlight. But this time the news, while not perfect, might be better than most were bracing for. So here's what went down. Gonsolin hit the injured list over the weekend, a move that immediately raised eyebrows considering his history. When a pitcher with a recent Tommy John surgery suddenly deals with elbow issues again, it's hard not to fear the worst. Fans and analysts alike held their breath as the team awaited results from an MRI. Fortunately, the scan brought back a sigh of relief. No new damage to his surgically repaired ulnar collateral ligament. In simpler terms, the elbow's most fragile. An important part is still intact. And for someone who's already been through the rigors of UCL reconstruction, that's massive. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. While the ligament is okay, the team isn't out of the woods. Manager Dave Roberts hasn't laid out a return timeline, and the actual diagnosis remains unclear. That's not exactly the kind of transparency that gives fans peace of mind, but compared to the potential worst-case scenario, a second UCL tear, this is still considered relatively good news. A new tear would have most likely shut Gonsolin down for over a year, possibly wiping out all of 2026, which also happens to be the final year he's under team control. That kind of setback could have very well meant the end of his run with the Dodgers. With a salary increase looming and his availability uncertain, a long-term injury would have put the front office in a tough spot, likely forcing a non-tender decision in the offseason. For now, though, Gonsolin remains a part of the puzzle, even if he's temporarily on the shelf. His return to action in 2024 has been something of a mixed bag. After making his way back from the 2023 Tommy John procedure, he came out strong. In his first few outings, he looked sharp, posting a sub-3 ERA and flashing good command. Through those first 16 innings, he struck out 21 batters and walked only 4. The kind of stat line that gives fans hope that he could still be a dependable piece in the rotation. But then the wheels started to wobble. His last 4 starts have been rough. Since May 18th, he's faced the Angels, the Mets twice, and the Yankees. In those 4 outings, he gave up 15 runs over 20 innings, was tagged for 20 hits, and posted an ugly 17-14 strikeout to walk ratio. And here's the kicker, 7 of those hits left the yard. That kind of home. Run rate just isn't sustainable if you're trying to compete at the big league level. Gonsolin's struggles are just one chapter in the Dodgers' ongoing injury saga. Right now, no fewer than 8 starting pitchers are sitting on the injured list. And that doesn't even include Shohei Ohtani, who, as everyone knows, is working his way back toward pitching, but remains focused on hitting duties for now. Big names like Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell, who are expected to anchor this rotation, have barely seen the mound in 2024. Both are stuck on the 60-day injured list. Young arms with promise like Emmett Sheehan, River Ryan, Kyle Hurt, and Gavin Stone also began the season sidelined. The first 3 are recovering from their own Tommy John surgeries, while Stone had shoulder surgery so severe it's likely to cost him all of the 2025 season. To make matters worse, one of the organization's top international prospects, Roki Sasaki, has been dealing with a shoulder impingement that's kept him out for about a month now, and yet somehow this team keeps pushing forward. At the moment, the Dodgers are leaning heavily on Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's emerged as a legitimate top-of-the-rotation presence. Following him is none other than Clayton Kershaw, the franchise icon who just keeps finding ways to contribute. Dustin May and southpaw Justin Robleski round out the current healthy options. Jose Urena, who's currently operating out of the bullpen in a long relief role, does have significant starting experience and could be stretched out if needed. Down in AAA, there are a few more names on the radar. Landon Knack, Bobby Miller, Nick Frasso, and Matt Sauer are all on the 40-man roster. But let's be real. Depth only matters if it's effective. Miller and Frasso have both struggled in the minors this season. Knack hasn't exactly impressed in his 7. Big league starts getting hit hard more often than not. On the bright side, Sauer has looked solid in AAA and even flashed some potential in a swingman role during a brief stint in the majors. With all that going on, it's no surprise fans are wondering whether the front office is gearing up for a trade. But interestingly enough, general manager Brandon Gomes has publicly downplayed the need to go out and acquire starting pitching, at least for now. In a recent conversation with John Heyman, Gomes pointed to the organization's internal options and the belief that help is already on the way. That confidence might sound bold given the state of the rotation, but it reflects a deeper trust in the players currently recovering. Of course, we've seen front offices use this kind of messaging before. Sometimes it's strategic, sometimes it's genuine, and sometimes it's both. It's also worth noting that Gomez made those comments before Gonsolin's latest setback. So depending on how things unfold in the next few weeks, we could see a shift in that tone if more injuries pop up or if progress stalls on some of the rehab fronts. Speaking of rehab assignments, here's one update that should excite fans. Emmett Sheehan is getting closer to a return. 13 months removed from his Tommy John surgery, Sheehan is back on a minor league rehab assignment and making real strides. He's already made 3 starts, 1 in the rookie level complex. League and 2 in AAA. Over 9 innings of work, he's allowed just 1 run, struck out 14, and walked only 1. Add in a hit batter, and that's still a dominant line. His most recent outing on June 7th saw him throw 57 pitches, which means he was building up strength and endurance. It's likely he'll need at least 1 more start, maybe even 2, before he's ready to rejoin the big league club. Sheehan's fastball has been clocked at an average of 96.3 miles per hour, which is actually a tick higher than his pre-surgery velocity. Of course, he's still pitching in shorter bursts and hasn't had to face lineups multiple times yet, so we'll need to see how that velocity holds up deeper into games. Still, this is the kind of progress that gives the Dodgers a real boost. If he continues trending in this direction, Sheehan could be back with the team before the end of the month, and given his status as a former top 100 prospect, expectations will be high. He's still only 25 with a ton of upside, and getting him back in the mix could change the outlook for this rotation in a big way. Right now, the Dodgers are in that familiar position where adversity is everywhere, but the potential to rise above it is just as real. Gonsolin's situation is delicate, no doubt. The team will need to be careful and patient, but they avoided the worst-case scenario, and that in itself is something to hold on to. Add in the imminent return of young arms like Sheehan, and you start to see the outlines of a comeback story forming. Of course, the margin for error is razor thin, and as we've seen before, things can change fast. But as of now, the Dodgers are keeping the ship steady, and with a little more luck on the injury front, they might just weather this storm. And as we dig even deeper into this ever-evolving Dodger situation, it's impossible not to talk about how the team has navigated the constant uncertainty. It's not just about the number of injuries, it's about how they've hit nearly every layer of the pitching infrastructure. We're talking established aces, mid-rotation arms, promising prospects, even long-term projects like Roki Sasaki, who many thought could be a game-changer by midseason. Instead, his shoulder impingement has stalled any real momentum. The same goes for Kyle Hurt, who, despite showing flashes before his injury, is likely out of the picture for the remainder of the year. The sheer volume of missing arms has transformed the Dodgers season into a real-time test of their organizational depth and adaptability. Yet what's made this stretch fascinating, or maybe a little maddening, is the way the Dodgers keep finding ways to compete. For every injury setback, there's been a brief breakout, a young guy stepping up, or a veteran stabilizing things just long enough to keep the rotation afloat. Take Justin Robleski, for example. He wasn't exactly at the top of the depth chart when the season began, but now he's logging meaningful innings and showing that he's capable of holding his own. Or consider Dustin May, still only 26, trying to reestablish his rhythm while adjusting to a heavier workload. These aren't perfect solutions, I'm far from it, but they're keeping the team in games. And in a season where it feels like the rotation is held together by duct tape and hope, that kind of resilience matters. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. Whispers across the league are growing louder, and if the latest buzz proves true, Major League Baseball could be on the verge of witnessing one of the most seismic trades in recent memory. According to emerging rumors, the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Houston Astros are deep in discussions for a potential blockbuster deal centered around none other than slugger Yordan Alvarez. While no official confirmation has been made by either organization, sources close to the situation suggest that talks have progressed beyond the exploratory phase. Insiders hint that the Dodgers, never shy about making bold moves, are aggressively pursuing the left-handed powerhouse to bolster their lineup for a postseason push. The Astros, meanwhile, appear open to listening, a stance that would have been unthinkable just months ago. The rumor mill began churning early this week when Yordan Alvarez was unexpectedly absent from media availability during the Astros' home series. Though team officials cited routine rest, some believe it may be linked to behind-the-scenes negotiations. Several Dodger scouts were also spotted in Houston over the past weekend, fueling speculation that a major deal is in the works. What makes this potential trade so intriguing is the ripple effect it could have on both rosters. The Dodgers, currently among the National League's elite, would add even more firepower to an already potent offense. Pairing Alvarez with stars like Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani could form a fearsome trio capable of dominating any pitching staff. For the Astros, parting ways with Alvarez would mark the end of an era, but could signal a retooling phase, perhaps in exchange for elite prospects or young MLB-ready talent. Still, questions remain. Would Houston truly let go of a cornerstone? Like Alvarez? Could the Dodgers afford the massive return package he would demand? For now, the league watches and waits as this developing story sends shockwaves through front offices and fan bases alike. Nothing is official yet, but where there's smoke, there just might be fire. Stay tuned. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.